Hey everyone, welcome to season 2 of The Conversation. Again, we're continuing to have the conversation about fatherhood. Yes, fatherhood, but this time we're going to talk about doing it again. So sit back and let's get going. Come and listen, laugh, and link up on real life topics and subjects that matter to you here on the Conversation with Corinthus, Alston. Welcome to The Conversation. Without the conversation, we can't have the understanding. Today, we're going to be talking about fatherhood. And I have a special guest who's going to help me have this conversation, Mr. Leon Wilson. He's an entrepreneur. He's a book writer. He's a publisher. This brother does it all. Okay. This brother does it all. But we share starting all over again. We got grown kids, y'all. Yes, we do. We got grown kids, and we are starting all over again. So I just want to jump right into the conversation. Leon, tell me what is different now versus then. Everyone, Mr. Leon Wilson.
Now I can look back on that and say I really didn't know anything about being a dad, the responsibilities that all entails. Me being a father early on, I was learning at the same time I was going through it, and doing it that way I made a lot of mistakes. And thank God I was able to raise my kids, and they turned out great. Despite my lack of knowledge about raising a family. But the second time around gave me an opportunity. It actually gave me a do-over. And I took full advantage of that.
All right. So that do-over, see, I said the same thing. It seems like we have more time now than we had then. That we have more time to do the investing. And yes, we invested with our kids, our children before, but this time we have time to actually go all in. Soccer games, football games, cheerleader practice. I mean, so
I agree.
How has that changed for you?
You hit it right on the head. Time. Early on, when I first got married, I'm young. I'm just starting out in my career. So I'm torn between my career, my family, my wife. I had to divide up all that time, and not being proficient in time management at 22, 23 years old, that changed everything. It was, I didn't know how to do that part of it.
I get it. I get you.
Now that I'm established in my career, know way more about time management, how to put the things most important at the top of my list, which is my family. Before, when my kids were younger, I tried to get to the schools. I tried to do those things, but of course, you're limited on what you can do because you have to be on the job. This time around, it's like night and day. I was able to go to school, volunteer with Girl Scouts, part of the running class. I would go for any type of parent-teacher day with no problems because I'm an entrepreneur and my time is mine. And I was able to set that up in advance because I knew my priorities. I knew that those days, those very important days of being with my kids were going to come up. So I prepared for that. I scheduled just for that. These are things that I definitely didn't know early on.
Wow. So here's another question I have for you. Do you think you feel more stable now doing this second time around than before? Because remember, in the beginning, you trying to get Pampers, wipes, food. You can't even sleep at night. You think about, oh Lord, I gotta buy some more Pampers. Oh Jesus, I gotta go do. You know, it's a different stress level. It is. It's a completely different stress level than 30 years ago than today. So how? Do you find that part of it different?
I think it's different in that I'm calmer. So now I'm calm, and I have the experience to rely on, that been there, done that attitude. And so nothing excites me, nothing scares me to the point of I don't know what to do, how we're going to accomplish this. I don't have those things because I've been there, done that. And so there's an ease in which I'm able to look at things, the different emergencies that pop up with kids, whether it's injuries, whether it's school issues, um, just growing up issues. I have something to look back on. I have a reference point where I can say, you know, the last time I addressed this type of event, I made a huge mistake. So this time I'm going to do the opposite. And I must say that
Wow,
my
that's deep. That's deep right there.
oh,
That's real
that's
deep.
it. That's it.
That's real deep because as a dad, man, when I look back on some of the things, I'm like, I could have done that better.
Oh
I could
yes.
have done that. I wow, man, yeah, you hit something
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, you hit a deep spot right there because just okay, disciplining. Back then, we had a whole, you know, okay, now we still don't spare the rod, you
Yes.
can't spare the rod,
Yes.
for the child, but
Yes.
they have they have so much stuff now compared to our kids 30 years ago. Well, no iPhone, you had one phone in the kitchen. You had
Right.
to stand by that phone to use the phone. That's it.
Yes.
Now they got iPads, they got this, they got that. You take away one device, they got 12 more devices. So
Yes.
how do you deal with that, man? Tell me. I want to know. I know everybody else want to know.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's where you have to go to your quiver. You know, your quiver is where all your arrows are at, so you can shoot those arrows. Well, now at this stage of the game, second time around, I have a lot of arrows in my quiver. So, or a lot of tools in my toolbox. The number one tool is definitely talking to them. I'm able to communicate with my kids now in a way that I wasn't able to the first time around. Remember, the
Wow.
first time around, my toolbox was almost empty. So I was just building up. I was just
you,
buying tools.
you okay? You
Now
have
my
one
toolbox is
screwdriver.
running over.
So you know what? So let's stay there. So if you had to tell that new dad, that
Mhm.
brand new dad, 23, 24, he has no tools.
Yes.
He has no tools. What would you tell him? What if you had to say put something in your toolbox to deal with your child? What are you know what? I'm gonna let you give him a couple tools. I'm nice. I'm nice. Okay, I'm gonna be nice. I was gonna say one, but I know you got 3 or 4 that you can put up in there. So okay. So give us a couple. Give us a couple of tools you'll put in that toolbox for that brand new dad who 23, 24, who just trying to figure it out.
I definitely have my top two. Number one, listen. Listen. There's that old saying, you have two
That's
ears
good.
and one mouth, because you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. So my number one is to really listen to what your kids are saying. They may not be able to even express themselves at that point in their lives to actually what they want to say. But you have to listen, not just to hear what they're saying, but listen for what they're not saying. The second thing is to remember. to remember.
Wow.
You need to be able to go back and think about yourself at that age and how you wanted to be treated and how you were treated.
Mm.
So those two things together, listen and remember.
And now, you know what? It's funny you say remember because man, I remember when wow, it seemed like forever, man. They growing up on you. But you know what? Jackson, he will tell me something, or if I make a promise to him, he's 4 years old now.
Yes.
He remembers that.
Yes.
And then when you said remember, you gotta remember when you promise your child something as a dad. When dad said, "I'm gonna do it," oh, it's in their brain. It's locked and loaded. It's just
locked in. Yes.
It's locked in. It's locked in, and the expectation is not just the bar, but they taking it all the way up to the sky. You got to come in and knock it out the park. you So I mean,
I agree.
have you had those moments where you talk to your kids today, and most people don't know. I know we just skipped over that, but give us the ages right now. So give us the ages of your children right now that you have.
My son is 9 years old,
Nah.
and I have two daughters, 12 and 13. Oh my
Lord.
goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Woo. Oh my goodness. You got internet, you got phones, you got, oh Jesus, you got PlayStations, you got see now here's the thing. The reason why I wanted you to say that, because again, we got grown kids. The most they had was Atari. They had the Atari on that Sega Genesis, okay?
Yeah.
That's the best. They didn't have all this stuff. So when you promise to do something with them, do they hold you to the fire? Do they hold your feet to the fire when you make that promise?
Oh, there's no question. No question. Actually, my son, he's probably the worst because he's gotten to the point where he sets an alarm on his laptop as a reminder. So not even if he forgets, there's an alarm that goes off to remind him of something that I've said. So in this age of technology, it has reached the extremes. But when you talk about Atari and all those different things, now we're in the age of TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those things come into play, especially when with my girls, 12, 13. That's at a very interesting age, 12 and 13, especially for girls. And so they're going through a lot of different things, but you have to try to stay the course and remember. Remember.
So how about, you know what? Let's talk again. Because remember, so you get a different level of accountability from your son. How about your daughters when you promise them something like, Dad, I want this for Christmas, or I'm going to do this, and you know what? You say, hey, if you do this, I'm gonna go out my extra way to try to get you this for your birthday. How does that? I mean, what's the pressure like that? How's that pressure for you?
Well, here we go again. Second time around, I know that feeling of not being able to deliver early on in my career. And so now I make a special effort to not promise anything that I can't deliver. So I make that clear as well. I don't chime in on things that I'm not able to deliver. I let it be known that no, we probably won't get that, or maybe you're not ready for that right now. For many years, my oldest daughter wanted a pair of Jordans. She wasn't ready. She didn't understand about taking care of her shoes or anything. You would see them all over the place. But at one point, she did get ready. And I noticed that she had started taking care of her shoes, start cleaning them, start putting them up. And then she got a pair of Jordans. And now she just does exactly that. She takes care of them, she cleans. So you have to be observant of where they're at. One other thing I want to mention too is that I learned that if they're able to formulate a question, if they can ask a good question, it's like a Google search. If you ask a generic question, you get all types of answers. But when you fine tune that question, you get what you're looking for. So as a parent, I use that as well. If they're able to articulate exactly what they want or a question that they have, regardless of their age, I believe that deserves a true answer. Because if they're able to ask the question, they're able to understand the answer.
Okay.
So you have to play it by ear for sure.
So wow. I mean, because that's really powerful because because you saw it as they were growing up. When your son was the questions he asked at 3 are totally different at 9 now, and the questions that your daughter asks at 6 are totally different at 12 and 13. So how did, again, different times. Remember back then, 30 years ago, we sort of kind of kept things towards the vest. You know what I mean? We really didn't share a lot of information with the kids, which I think hurt them. I think hurt them because,
Yes.
if they were able to articulate it, we should have just gave them a little fluffy answer. And so now,
Right.
this second time around, I get it. I get it. Sometimes my son, he asks me, okay, what's the difference between a boy and a girl?
Ooh.
Now he's 4. So I have to explain to him that the body is different. And,
Yes.
and I mean, but he's 4. He's serious. He's actually very. Back then, you remember we had the birds and the bees, and this little honey
Yes.
went to this
Yes.
polyp.
Yes. Yes.
But I think what you're saying is so true that today we need to be more direct, and we just need to answer the
Yeah.
question, and we have to make it appropriate to their level, but we need to get them to understand because they took the time to actually. It was a serious question. It was a serious
Yeah.
question. So okay.
Yeah.
So,
Let me add
go for
something
it.
to that.
Go for
Let
it.
me
Go
add
for it.
something to that. Because of that technology piece that we've already talked about, in a way, as parents, we're being robbed because those very specific questions like
Mm-hmm.
that, normally, without any outside influences, we would take our time in providing that information.
Yes.
But because they're being exposed to something beyond their age, because they're being bombarded with different things, questions, and experiences that in some cases are beyond their age and comprehension, it poisons those questions. It brings up that curiosity in them, maybe earlier than what they should. And so as
Okay.
parents, though,
Okay.
as parents, we have to go with the way things are, not the way things we wish they were. Right? We have to deal with what's going on right now, not talk about how it was when I was a kid. Right? Because they don't live back then; they live with the right now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we have to deal with the right now, and we have to answer those questions in a way that's appropriate, age appropriate. But just like you did, we have to answer those questions and not put those things off. Because if one thing that I've learned, if our kids don't learn from us, they'll learn from someone else.
Hey, they got Facebook. They got Facebook. They will learn. They will learn from Facebook. All right. Okay, all right. So you got 2 girls. We're gonna go for the home run now. Just the home run.
Yeah.
Okay, so back then, so
Yes.
so so everyone, so everyone, let everyone know. So he has older children. He has some boys, right? But yeah, that was a
Yes.
different time and a different age 30 years ago. You remember 30 years ago, we had to go over to the parents' house, ask the daddy, the cousin, the mama, and we could take someone on a date.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see where I'm about to go with this, right? You see where I'm about to go with
Oh,
this.
yeah.
All right. So you
Yeah.
doing it again. But now, guess what? It's flipped on you. You got some girls. So
Yeah.
these little,
Yeah.
I want to say something else. Lord, I'm gonna stop. These little young men, all right, they're gonna
Yeah.
be all right.
Yeah.
Gonna be trying to text, email, FaceTime, chat with your daughters. With your daughters,
Yes.
they bypassing you. You don't even exist. You don't.
Right.
What actually the pandemic helped you out. Helped you
In
out
a big way.
in
Yes.
a big way
Yes.
because you out in a big
Yes.
way. But no, seriously, really thinking about that because everything has changed. Remember, you doing this all over again, but now you got these girls you have to raise in this age of this whole thing of sexuality and dating online and sexting
Hmm.
and all kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, are you ready? Are you ready for it?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Because I understand that it's laid out just the way you put it. These things happen whether you're ready or not. Here it comes. And at that age they are now, 12, 13, we actually address this time years ago. So now we're here. It goes back to how you raise your kids. You raise them up in a certain way. We're a Christian family. They've been raised in a Christian household. We do understand that we understand that kids are kids, and sometimes they let their emotions or feelings take over instead of thinking with their brain and what they've been taught. We understand that, and there is some trial and error in life in general, but we teach them the right way. We've instructed them on how they should be. We give them the leeway to make certain mistakes and adjustments in life because they still have to have their childhood. But it is different with girls. Now I do have an older daughter. Now let me tell you this: my older kids, my older son is 40. He just turned 40. I have a daughter that's 34, and then Leon
Wow.
Jr. He's 32.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have went through this, and I can tell you that my oldest daughter, she's getting married
Okay.
next year. Thank God. She doesn't have any children. She doesn't have any children, and I'm looking forward to walking her down the aisle. But my two girls now, they've had something that my other kids didn't have. They've been educated not only by my wife and I,
Mm-hmm.
and brought up in a certain way, but they also had the technology and all of that input as well, with us trying to decipher to them
Mm.
what is right, what is wrong, using all of that technology, that TikTok and all those other things as tools. See, this is something that I wasn't able to do when I was young in my marriage. I wasn't able to do that because I didn't have those skills. But now, instead of saying, don't do that, don't listen to that, don't, now I'm able to see these things as tools that I can use
Exactly.
in my
Exactly.
toolbox to help me teach them and show them the way that they should go.
Wow. Wow. See, and that's what people don't understand. It, they really don't understand that now it's different. It's different, And I have a lot of friends, and you know people as well. 45, 48, 50. They're doing it
Yeah.
all over again, or some of them having their first child, and it's rough. You know,
It's extremely hard. Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah,
truly
yeah.
rough from when we were out there. So you know, so we're gonna wrap this up, but I need to let people know that we're gonna come back because I'm telling you, because this is a deep conversation because we got a whole bunch of stuff that we can go down the line. Oh, you
Yes.
know, on, but I want you to give those men who are listening and women who are listening, um, some of the things, you know, one or two things about how you see fatherhood this time around.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Remember that listen and remember. I can't stress upon people enough. These kids are a little bit different than we were. But because we brought them up with love and affection and instilled a level of honesty in them, when they come to you and tell you something, listen. Listen to what they're saying and even listen to what they're not saying because you was young before as well. And then address that. Don't criticize the honesty, but appreciate it because they need an answer. They need some direction. That's why they're coming to you. And don't be so hard. Don't be so forceful. You can't spare the rod, but the rod shouldn't be the first thing you reach for, right? The third thing that I would say is love is the key. Love is the key. It is what keeps your family together. Your relationship with your wife is so important because that shows your children what to look for, what to aspire to. If you're a single parent, those relationships, those people you bring home, it's the same way that the ones that you feel worthy enough to introduce to your children. It's the same way. You want to introduce them to people that resembles the life that they should aspire to be like because you have a teaching method. You're directing your kids. So you want to introduce them to people that will further that direction that you've been teaching. You want to emphasize a certain path that they should follow. And you should never introduce anyone into their lives that will not emphasize or mimic the path that you've pointed them into the direction to succeed. Keep that in mind. So it's all those pieces together. But remember to love. Love is key. As a Christian man, we know that love is God. And if you have love in your household, that means God is in your household. So if you think like that and you remember and you listen, it'll be all right. Enjoy the ride.
Wow.
Enjoy the ride.
See, that's some wisdom. There you go. See, that's
Mm.
some wisdom. Well, brother, I appreciate you. I thank you for taking out the time because I know you at home with those kids right now. You at
Woo!
home with them. You at home with them. And now you know you got to come
Yes.
back. Now you know you got to come back because we got some other conversations that we're going to have as well. So you know, but I want to thank you, my brother. You know, for
Thank you.
taking the
Yes.
time out and you know and letting everybody know the second time around you can make it.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. You can. Yes, you can. So, you know, I just want everyone to know that this series of fatherhood has really brought out some things and that, you know, I do have another one. I have one more. We're going to talk about blended families. Oh, yeah, that's hot. Woo! You know, there's a lot of praying that needs to be going on for there. But again, remember, like I said, without the conversation, we can't have the understanding. Till next time. Thank you for being part of the Conversations with Corinthus Alston, brought to you by CKJ Live. Come back and visit again to share more real-life topics and stories that matter to you. And remember, without the conversation, we can't have the understanding.